Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to analyze the Q4 result of TCS and Infosys and compare those two financial report of Q4. Before we get started, do hit the subscribe button so you get the daily updates in your notification as well as the analysis of these financial reports and how to invest in the stock and other basic informations. So let's get started. Let's see the financial highlights of Q4. The revenue from operations for TCS stood at 59,162 crores and for Infosys it stood at 37,441 crores. If you see the year-on-year revenue growth for TCS, it is 16.9% and for Infosys it is 16%. And if you talk about the net profit for TCS, it stood at 11,392 crores for this quarter and for Infosys it is 6,128 crores in Q4. So if you compare the current Q4 with the last Q4, the year-on-year profit is 14.8% and for Infosys it is 8%. And the recommended dividend for the TCS is 24 rupees per share and for Infosys it is 17.50 per share. When you compare the revenue of previous quarter with the current quarter, it grows at 1.60% for TCS and for Infosys it's down by 2.2%. The quarter-on-quarter profit for TCS it is 5.03% and for Infosys it is down by 6.95%. So if you see the overall of Q4 result, the TCS has performed better than the Infosys. If you talk about the top line figures and bottom line figures, for the TCS and the Infosys both comes the below estimates than what the market was expecting. That means like street expectation. So if you to move on to the deal wins for the Jan and March quarter, the TCS has won 10 billion deal. That means like total contract value. And if you talk about Infosys, it is 2.1 billion. Let's see the headcount and attrition details. The overall employee count stood at 6.15 lakh for TCS, which is an increase of 821 employees from Q3. And for Infosys, it is 3,43,234, which is a down of 3,611 employees from Q3. The employee attrition stood at 20.1% in Q4 for TCS, which is increased from 15.3% in Q3. And for Infosys, it is 20.9% and actually it is down from the 24.3% in Q3. So if you see in this headcount and attrition detail, the Infosys performed much better. If you talk about the key financial numbers of TCS and Infosys, the PE ratio of TCS is 27.7 and for Infosys it is 23.9, and for 5 years average PE which comes at 23.8 and for Infosys it comes at 21.0. And if you compare with the 5 years PE ratio, still the TCS and Infosys are little costlier. And if you compare it with the industry PE, it is 25.6 and 25.6 for the industry PE for TCS and Infosys. And if you compare these all three numbers, you will see the Infosys is like little cheaper or discounted from compared to the TCS. But you should not take a decision with the PE numbers, and we have other various financial numbers which we have to compare before we take any investment decision. And if you talk about earning per share, we will have for TCS is 115 and for Infosys it is 58.1. And if you see return on equity, it is 46.9% and for Infosys 32%. Now you will have a fair idea why this PE ratio for TCS is higher than the Infosys. That means like the price we pay for TCS is much higher than the Infosys because their return on equity is much better and for earning per share is also much better than the Infosys when it comes to the TCS. So the price is also higher for TCS. And when you talk about dividend yield, the Infosys gives you the better dividend yield of 2.45% and for TCS it is 1.35%. The debt to equity is 0.09 and for Infosys it is 0.11. As the IT sectors is a lightweight, light asset model, these debt to equity ratios usually will stay low. And let's see the major TCS management commentary and the guidelines for financial year 2024. They have seen expecting a slowdown in the BFSI vertical, and it was slowed down in the last quarter. So the revenues got impacted, and they are seeing the postpone in the discretionary spending from the US clients. and they have given guidelines for the BFSI sector. The growth estimate is 5% year on year and down from 11.8% year on year from financial year 2023. And if you see financial 24 number, the revenue growth will be of 7.7% year on year on constant currency basis, a cut of 40 BP from the previous estimate. And if you talk about the Infosys, they are expecting a revenue growth of 4 to 7% in constant currency and operating margin of 20 to 22%. And to get the more details of such analysis, please do subscribe to our channel. And if you enjoy our content, please like and share with your friends. Thank you for watching.